What's most important? Making sure that your family is there with you every single step of the way. But you have to be willing to lose some friends.
You're listening to the Icandemy Podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Hello, welcome to 2020. I'm super excited to be recording the very first episode of the year. My holiday was restful. It was amazing. It was quality time spent with family. And I do hope you had a restful holiday as well. I hope you got to spend quality time with the people that you love and care about. I mean, that's what life is about, basically. When we think about it all, everything that we do is just so that we can spend time that matters with the ones that we love. Now, speaking of 2020, I stopped making New Year resolutions many years ago because I don't know about you, but I never stuck to them, and it ended up making me feel worse than I felt when I made them. So I started to do something else, and this was actually inspired by a friend of mine. I started to give myself a one word for the year that kind of acted like a guide towards the rest of the year for me. And last year it was learning. So last year was just all about learning, developing, evolving, and just filling my bag of tricks up with new tools and strategies. Now this year, my one word is consistency in applying the things that I learned last year. Now, I want to know, what is your one word for this year? Or if you are not like me, if you still make New Year resolutions, I want you to share them with me. Okay? Share them with me. I want to know what your one word is or what it is that you're aspiring to do this year. Now, on that note, the theme for this month for the podcast is all about productivity. It's all about how can we be more efficient? How can we juggle everything that we have on our plate and still enjoy life? And that is why on today's episode, I have a brilliant woman who does this. I mean, she kind of downplays it to say, no, it's not like I have it all figured out. Obviously, none of us do. We're all still on the journey. But to a large extent, Tshepiso has figured out how to manage her busy life and still make time for her family. And that is what she talks to us about today. Now, one of the narratives about life is that success often requires harsh trade-offs. Is it actually possible to maintain friendships, build an impactful business, spend quality time with your family, stay fit, and get enough sleep? Turns out it is possible, and you don't have to be superhuman to make that happen. You just need to be disciplined. And that is why on today's episode, I talked to a woman who knows a thing or two about having it all. Our guest today is Tshepiso Ramashitja. Tshepiso is a qualified chemical engineer. She's a wife and mom to an amazing son and an amazing husband. She's also the founder of TM Consultancy and Investments. She's a corporate professional, an older sister to 3 siblings. She is currently pursuing a master's degree. She's also passionate about empowering and encouraging others. So, Tshepiso, this is an amazing bio. I want you to just explain, and we'll get to that. How are you able to do all of these things? Right? We'll get to that in a little bit. But first of all, I want you to please introduce yourself to our listeners. Who is Tshepiso, in your own words?
All right. Wow. Hi, everybody. I'm Tshepiso Ramashitja. I'm a qualified chemical engineer. I think you heard Victoria mentioning that in the intro there. I'm also a corporate professional. I work full-time. I'm also a mother of 1. I'm a wife. I'm doing my master's in chemical engineering. And for last and foremost is that I'm the owner and founder of TM Consultancy and Investments. So that is Tshepiso wrapped in a nutshell. However, I'm very passionate about encouraging. I'm very passionate about empowering other people out there. And hence why I started my own company, because I wanted people to realize that even in the midst of their dark situations, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So people must not be too quick to give up. They must not be too quick, to commit suicide, because there is help out there and there is people who you can actually talk to out there.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Tshepiso. So I want to understand something. First and foremost, we don't see a lot of women, in your industry of engineering.
Yes.
So that's a plus, number one. Number two, you also, on the flip side, so engineering is more geared towards sciences. And then you're also art inclined, where you're interested in empowering people, encouraging people. You also have programs that you put together to empower people. What's the balance? How do you juggle that? How do you cross between the sciences and the arts?
Oh, Victoria, you're really asking me a very interesting question here, because I know, at times I also asked myself that, oh my goodness, Tshepiso, how on earth are you going to manage everything all at once? Because it's quite a lot. But however, in the beginning, I really want to be quite honest, and frank about it. In the beginning, I actually struggled quite a bit in terms of finding a balance.
Right.
Because I work full time. I come back from work, I'm literally exhausted. And then when I get home, I've got my son who needs me to help him with homework. I've got my husband who needs me to be, his partner and to be a wife to him. So I basically need to spend time with my family. On top of that, because I'm a student as well, I need to do my schoolwork.
Right.
And I also have my business as well on the side. So, oh my goodness, initially I struggled, to basically find a balance, because I ended up focusing more on my business than, spending more time with my family. So it came to a point whereby my husband was actually the eye opener, because he made me realize that, look, honey, I support you 100%, I'm really behind you. But however, you seem to be neglecting us a bit. So please, can you just put down your business cap and start spending a bit more time with us, as a family? And I realized that, oh my goodness, geez, yes, my husband is quite right, because I need his support for and foremost. So if I do not take this into account and work on it, and then, I'm basically going to suffer in terms of, being a partner to him.
Right.
So I started, trying to find ways of juggling everything. And eventually I sat down, I'm like, okay, look, Tshepiso, you need to have a plan together. So I sat down and I started having a plan, your normal calendar, whereby you've 30 days or 31 days. So I worked around that. I said, okay, I go to work for so many hours. I usually come back. When I come back, I can rest from this time to this time. And then I can spend time with my son, assisting him with his homework from this time to this time. And then once he's in bed, and then now I can spend time with my husband, for so much time. And then once I'm done with that and he's also happy and I'm also satisfied, then I can work on my business or my studies. So it basically came to end up having to draw up a plan and to have to prioritize as well what is most important in order of priority. And I actually found that once I actually did a plan, and then my life became so much easier. My husband has never been happy. My son has never been happier, because now mom is always available to assist him with his homework. And, I get time as well, to still focus on my business. And also when coming to focusing on my business, my husband is 100% behind me. Right. Whenever I have sessions, he helps me with presentations. He will do the presentations for me. I'll tell him, okay, honey, I don't have time now. Please, fix this for me. Help me with that. He is 100% hands-on, because I made sure that I found a balance to make everyone happy. And that's
what you're saying is so true, because I also experienced the same thing. And it
Yeah.
actually got to a point where my husband was like, we don't even see you anymore. We live in the same house, but we're just like roommates, you know? You're always on your laptop, you know, you're always busy doing something. And you're so right, because my husband is also very supportive. But when that starts to get in the way of the relationship, then it's not fun anymore. You know, the business becomes like they start to resent your business, so to speak. You know, your family will start to resent your business because it feels like it's taking you away from them. So you're so right that it's absolutely important to find a balance between that and, you know, making the main thing, basically, you know?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's really good. So I wanted to ask you, Tshepiso, so you still work full-time and you run a business?
Yes, I still work.
Okay, so why are you, how do I say this? Why are you doing both? Why haven't you left one for the other? Because it's always like, okay, you can't do both. It's either you're a business person or you're an employee. Like, you can't do both. That's the general mentality out there. So how do you strike that balance between, okay, this is my corporate professional hat and this is my CEO hat?
So basically with me, firstly, when you work full time, you know, you get a steady income.
Right.
So you're basically able to live your life around a steady income.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that, okay, I'm passionate about my business, but however, my business at the moment is not quite stable.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's not stable, and then I first need to continue building it, I need to first build my brand. Right. And once my business starts giving me money, or I start getting an income closer to what I'm earning now, and it's very, very steady, only then will I leave corporate fully and focus on TMCI on a full-time basis. Right. So it's just a matter of, you know, because you have kid to look after, you've got school fees to pay, you know, you have a couple of things that you need your income for. So it's just a matter of me just hanging in there, because at the back of my head, I know that corporate is not for me. I know that. I've always had the thing that corporate is not for me. But however, in order for me to be able to build a business, I need some money also, which I make from corporate. And using that money and using the necessary resources, and then I can start building my business little by little and making sure that I build a brand for myself. And once my brand starts talking for itself, and then I'm making also enough income from my business, only then will I now move from being corporate full-time and focusing on my business full-time.
That's so true.
So yeah, it's not an easy one, but however, you know, it's just the way that life works, because I don't want to find that financially I suffer because, you know, my son, maybe I won't be able to afford his school fees or something. So it's just a matter of patience. Right. I've got my end goal in mind. I've got my vision. So now I must just use my current circumstance to push me and my current resources to push me and lead me to where I want to be. Yeah.
That is so true. That is so true. Because I wrote an article, I think it was sometime earlier in the year. And I said, if you're looking to start a business, the first thing you need to do is get a job. That's the first thing you need to do, because you cannot be creative, especially if you're doing a creative business like what you're doing, you know, creating content, empowering people. You cannot be creative with your lights off or with your stomach empty. You need to have that basic foundation of, okay, I can pay my bills. Then from there, you can then become more creative, and you can then, you know,
to have your end goal in mind, because
wow, that's so true. And that's so good. And I do hope people actually understand that being an entrepreneur does not, if you're still in the corporate industry, does not mean you're less of an entrepreneur, because that's sometimes it actually make most of the messaging out there today feels like, oh, if you're working for people, then you are not a full-fledged entrepreneur. No. You don't have to suffer because you're trying to build a business. It's just finding that balance. Yeah.
So basically, remember as well that business-wise, Rome is never built in one day. So you don't have to rush yourself, but you take your time. I believe in quality more than anything. So if your brand speaks for itself and you are aggressively out there, and then you will find that things then become much, much easier for you as a business person.
Right.
And it's going to be easier to migrate from being a full-time corporate professional to being a full-time entrepreneur.
Right. Right. So what you're saying is just knowing at the back of your mind that what your end goal is, and then giving yourself some patience to actually walk that process gradually.
Yes.
That's good.
Gradually. Yes.
That's really good.
Gradually. Do not rush. Do not
Yeah.
rush. You might trip and fall and hurt your face and break your teeth.
That's so good. Yeah. Okay, Tshepiso, I want to know, you do all of these amazing things, right? You're balancing it, you've planned it out. But what are some of the challenges that you still face in having to have it all? Because I see you as somebody who has it all, right? What are some of the challenges that come with having it all?
I can't really say I have it all. It's still too early to have it all. But in terms of the challenges that I experience, we as women, we undermined most of the time. And the biggest challenge that I find out there, especially in South Africa, is that women are looked upon, like we are overlooked. And the minute you say, okay, look, I am a motivational speaker, I'm a life coach, I do business analysis, and people will be like, oh my goodness, but you're a woman, you're a woman. So what do you actually know about all of this? So I think one of the biggest challenges is placing yourself as a woman and getting people to trust you wholeheartedly to say that, look, as a life coach, I know I'm a woman, but look, my work will speak for itself. So you need to give me a chance. Because most of the time, the minute a person finds out that Tshepiso is a woman, they're like, oh, I'm not sure whether she'll be able to handle my issues, I'm referring to men in particular.
Right.
So that's one of the challenges that I face. And also the other challenge that I face as an entrepreneur, it's, the issue of getting your clients, because you need to build a database.
Right.
And you find that in most instances, as an entrepreneur, just to build a database, you have to sort of like give away freebies, just to assist people so that people can actually give testimonials to say that, but look, she is really, 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 really good. Because remember as well, when you build a brand, people love seeing what you have done or what you can actually do. So they need to see pictures. They cannot just hear you saying it, but they need testimonials, they need to see pictures, etc., etc.
Right.
So you find that finding clients just to be on your database is not as easy as people might think it is, especially because there are a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of people who come and say, hey, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a life coach. So you're basically backing out, amongst 100 other people, so to say. Yeah, so those are the biggest challenges. But however, these challenges do not put me down. Do not let these challenges put you down, because I know what I'm capable of. I know my purpose. I have found my purpose. And I know that God will not take me this far and just leave me out there to be eaten by the vultures. There's a reason why I was appointed, to be a motivational speaker, to be a life coach, because starting from a young age, this is something that I had been passionate about. It's something that I didn't even know I had inside me. Because I grew up being a very shy person.
Right.
But yeah, we'll get to that later.
Right. Another thing I wanted to ask, your field of expertise as a chemical engineer, do you often get underestimated as well as a woman in that industry?
Yeah. When coming to engineering as well, engineering is male dominated. It is a male dominated.
Yeah, that's why I asked, like, okay, what's it like being a woman in that industry?
Yeah, no, it's obviously tough, and also in corporate, things are never easy as well. Because in order for you to move up the ranks, you really have to work like 1,000 times harder than everybody else, because the minute people see that, okay, she's an engineer, but she's a woman, they start having doubts as well. So being a woman is actually quite tough. And until people realize that, hey guys, the future is female, and then we're going to have issues in our societies. But it's very, very tough just being a woman in general and trying to showcase that, guys, yes, this may be a male-dominated profession, but however, I'm also quite capable, if not capable of being even better than himself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really, really tough out there, Victoria. It's very, very tough.
Wow. So Tshepiso, I want to go back to, you were telling us a bit about your background. How did you find your true passion, your true calling? How did you, because you obviously you've gone to school, you've gotten the education to become a chemical engineer. Then you realize, okay, this is not my calling. This is not my passion. Yeah. How were you able to connect I call it weaving the thread. How were you able to weave the thread to actually find what you are supposed to be put on earth for?
Victoria, I struggled so much. I literally struggled with finding my purpose. And initially, it got frustrating for me because I felt that in the workplace, firstly, because I'm very reserved in the workplace. So going to meetings and having to stand in front of people, it was something that I truly hated. And just having to communicate with directors around the table, I hated anything that would involve me having to use my voice to speak out and, giving presentations and, just being in front of people. I hated that wholeheartedly. So, in order for me to actually determine what my purpose was, I had to go through a lot of searching, a lot of introspection. Firstly, I realized that I'm very good at giving out advices. I'm very, very good at motivating other people. So it didn't matter how old the person was, but, I had that capability of making a person to feel that, oh, look, this situation is quite small. Come on, man. Was both more care. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the one person who also made me realize that, there is a purpose for me, it was my mother. Because while growing up, my mother would always ask me to give people's children, advice. Maybe they've just completed matric and they're confused and they don't know what to do next. Or they've just got anxiety because of university and they feel like quitting and things like that.
Right.
And my mother would always ask me to please speak to the affected people, and in most cases it was young people. And I would speak to them and give them advice, and I would see the change that the person had after conversating with me. So I'm like, oh, wow, okay, clearly, wow, I'm really, really good at this. Hey, wow, okay. And then a couple of years ago, I realized that this was becoming something that was profound within me because it didn't matter where I went, but I just loved motivating people. I just loved inspiring people. I loved positivity. And the minute somebody would say something negative, I'd be like stopping them and saying, you need to look at this in a different light. And that's when I realized that, oh my goodness, I think this is actually my purpose. And then I decided to also pray about it because I'm like, Lord, I don't know whether, am I going crazy here? But is this really what you called me for? Because I'm shy. In the workplace, I'm a very reserved person. So even now, people are actually quite surprised to be like, oh, wow, so you actually stand in front of people, you talk? I'm like, because in the workplace, I am the total opposite.
Yeah.
So quiet. Yeah, I'm so reserved. But however, the minute I go out there and I start encouraging people and I start motivating, I become a whole different person. I become full of life. And that's when I realized that Tshepiso. Because, initially as well, when coming to my business, I had actually started a business in quality assurance and quality control, which is my expertise when coming to corporate.
Right.
But after realizing my purpose, I went and changed my strategy altogether. I rebranded my website and rebranded my company altogether. And that became my main focus, to make sure that I empower people, I help people, and I just make people realize their full potential amidst life's challenges. But every single person is given a book, you're given a blank page, and every single chapter, you have to write your own story. And some people just need assistance in order to help them write their stories, and that is where I fit in.
Hey everybody, it's Amashala here with a quick word from our sponsors. You see, when you decide to become an entrepreneur, one thing you do not realize you're signing up for is actually the amount of skills that you need to learn, especially if you're bootstrapping your business and trying to do a lot of things yourself. So things like building a website, social media marketing, photography, those are skills that you need when you are getting started as an entrepreneur. And that was what I was quick to realize when I started my business. But hey, Skillshare came to the rescue. With Skillshare, I was able to go there and take tutorials from people who have been exactly where I was, but are now experts in their field. So whether you're trying to build your website, trying to learn how to market your product on social media, or trying to improve on your communication and facilitation skills, Skillshare has got you. With Skillshare, you're able to learn new skills fast and effectively with step-by-step guided tutorials. And as a lovely listener, Skillshare has been kind enough to allow our listeners 2 months free of premium Skillshare. So to access 2 months free of premium Skillshare, click on the link below in the show notes. This is so good because, when it comes to purpose, a lot of us think it has to be something really big. Like maybe you have to be like, build a spaceship, right? Or you have to, invent the world's, I don't know what it is, right? The best technology. And but I also thought the same for a long time. So I would disregard my gifts, to say, oh, I don't think this would be my purpose because it comes easy to me. So I'll say, no, this can't be my purpose. My purpose has to be something that's difficult, that, that I have to solve like a big problem. Yeah. But the truth is your purpose, like what you said, what really stood out to me from what you were saying is, whenever you go and speak to people, it lights you up from the inside. You feel happy doing it, right? And that is exactly the first thing you should look out for. Anybody that is seeking their purpose is to actually find what lights you up. What is that thing you do that gives you joy? Like, you see the way I'm talking to you, Tshepiso, right? Before I started recording this, to be honest, I was in a mood. I was feeling a bit down, because I've just been so overwhelmed with a lot of things that I've been doing. But the moment I was like, oh, I have an interview with Tshepiso tonight, I was happy, Like it gives me real, like I call this podcast my happy place, to be honest with you. Once I'm here, I forget about everything and it just gives me so much joy, So that's how you know exactly what you have been put on earth to do.
Yes, precisely. Because even with me, I get so much joy the minute I'm able to bring change into somebody's life. I give myself a pat on the back and I'm like, wow, Tshepiso, this can only be God. That is why I'm here, to be able to make a change in the world, to be able to fulfill a certain assignment. Right. And the minute I see that I've got a positive influence on others, oh, wow, I'm happy. That's all I need.
It's true. I was looking for a quote that there's a quote that I always refer back to. It says, your purpose will bring gladness. Let me find that. I'll link to the quotes in the show notes once I find it. But basically what it's saying is that your purpose will bring gladness to the world and bring you satisfaction. So that's exactly what it is. When you're part to discovering your purpose, because this is something that a lot of people don't know and they struggle with. Like, what am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing? So, and then sometimes we make it overly complicated. We make it overly because we think it has to be this big thing. It can be something as little as like my purpose is connecting with people. Like I've always had the gift of connection. Like Tshepiso, you and I just clicked, right?
Yeah.
If we've never seen each other before, you and I just clicked. And I've always had that with it all my life, but I didn't know that was my purpose because it was so easy for me to walk into a room and just connect with people. So I never thought that was my purpose. I was like, okay, it has to be something else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. That's so good. So, Tshepiso, I want you to please, because you have a lot of experience, expertise, both in corporate, both in your work as a life coach, I want you to please share with us 5 actionable steps for somebody who is struggling at the moment. So, number 1, they're struggling with just balancing life. They're struggling with how do I juggle my, for example, maybe they're in corporate and they have a good job, but they also feel that pull, that purpose is calling them into something else. How do they balance? How do they answer the call, number 1? How do they balance everything, their work, their purpose, family? What are 5 actionable steps that you can share with us today?
Okay. I just want to start off by answering this with the quote that says that Rome was not built in one day. It may seem like just a few words, but these words have a very huge impact depending on how you look at them. So it's very important to remember this, that Rome was never built in one day.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be hard on yourself. You don't need to rush things and say that, but look, I want my business to succeed overnight. Nothing will happen overnight. Success does not happen overnight. Okay, so that is something that I want every single person who's aspiring to be an entrepreneur to always remember. So the first step, okay, or the first advice that I would give to your listeners is that first and foremost, find your passion. That is very important. Find your passion. And once you find your passion, this will lead you to finding your purpose. That's very, very important. Okay. Never go into business because you just want to make money. It does not work like that. Do a business that makes you want to get up at 3 in the morning. Do a business that gives you the joy, the fulfillment that you need. Do a business that will change someone or something out there. So find your passion first, and then your passion will lead you into finding your purpose. That's very important.
Okay.
Secondly, you need to be patient. Patience is key. You can ask any business person in the world, even the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, how they made it. They will tell you that they struggled. It took them years to build themselves to where they are today. Right. So you need to have patience. Be patient because, like I said, success does not happen overnight. Thirdly, don't quit. It sounds like a cliche. And, it's very easy for a person to say, no, Tshepiso, but, it's easy for you to say, don't quit. Guys, I've been there. And I know that if you really want something, if you really want to succeed in your life, if you really want to achieve your goal, you never quit. You can rest, but you never, ever, ever, ever quit. You must keep on believing in yourself. Keep on believing in what you want to offer to the world. Be it a product, be it a service, whatever it may be, never, ever, ever, ever quit. When you feel like this is too overwhelming for me, this is too much for me, you take a break, you get up and you continue. Eventually, you will reach where you want to be. Fourthly, you have to be willing to lose friends. Okay, so guys, it's very important to note this down. When you want to go into a business requires a lot of your time. A business requires sacrifices. So many business people, if you take a look out there, you will see that they don't have much friends. So you have to be willing to lose friends in the process of building your business. What's most important? Making sure that your family is there with you every single step of the way. But you have to be willing to lose some friends. And remember as well that when coming to friendships, there are some people who are just lions in a sheep's skin. They are not actually there for you. They just want to get something out of you. So there are certain friends who will turn you down, who will demotivate you and say, but look, friend, this is not going to work. Look, friend, you're too ambitious. It's very, very easy for the next person, to basically stop you from receiving your blessings just because you listen to them. So be willing to lose friends. The real friends will show themselves in the process. But however, you have to be willing to lose some friends. And the fifth one, be prepared to work harder than you have ever worked in your life. When you start a business or when you go into a business, remember, you do not have a steady income. It's different from the corporate world. You do not have a steady income. There's a lot of competition out there. In order to place yourself in the market, in order to have a very strong brand, you need to be prepared to work harder than you have ever worked before for yourself. Because remember, the ultimate goal is that you are doing this for yourself. This is your company. This is your baby. So it's similar to a real life baby, Before you get the baby, you have this idea that, okay, look, I think I now want to be a mother. So it first starts into an idea. Then afterwards, you make the parts to happen. So you basically take action. And afterwards, you find that you are now carrying a life inside you.
Right.
And then that life, you also have to give birth to it. So it's similar to a business. A business happens the same way. So in order for you to just take that mere idea into your mind and to give birth to it, there are many things that you have to go through in the middle that most people will not be able to see. So those things which are in the middle are the action steps that you take to make sure that you reach your goal. So be prepared to work extra hard. If you want to reap the reward, you have to make sure that you put in the work. No work, no reward. It's as simple as that. So it's always important to remember what your end goal is. What do you want to achieve? And you take steps in order to get there. So those are my 5 steps that I'd like to advise everyone on.
These are so good, Tshepiso. I'm just looking and I'm just like taking it all in, because especially number two, this is me right here, number 2. I'm going to be full transparency, guys. I'm going to be honest. Patience is something that I struggle with, especially when it comes to my business. Because, and I think because as entrepreneurs, you put your heart into everything that you do. And the moment you're not getting that traction that you want or that response that you were really excited about in the beginning, you lose momentum. Like you start to feel discouraged that, okay, am I even wasting my time? Does this even work? Does anybody even want this? Right? Because especially in today's world, like social media is a blessing and a curse. That's what I say. Because it's a blessing in the sense that, it's easier than ever to connect with anybody anywhere in the world, right? But it has made the barrier to entry for business so low that everybody and their mom is now a business owner. So it's hard to actually find who is true and who is there to just make a quick buck, right? Yeah, so patience for me is something that I'm really working on right now. Like, how do I just stay firm to just see this through, even if it's not really giving me the kind of results that I want at the moment, So that's so good.
And Victoria, something else as well, just to help you in terms of being patient. I think you need to start using your social media correctly. So basically, what I mean by that is that you need to follow the relevant people. You need to follow people who will inspire you. You need to follow like-minded people. So the minute you follow people who ooze with positivity, people who are giving you the hope that you need, just to give you that oomph that you actually need, you'll just see that you will just keep on going, you'll keep on pushing. And, you won't actually realize that, okay, I'm not getting the necessary response that I'm not getting, because you will be so focused on building your baby and nurturing your baby that, before you know it, and then you're like, oh my goodness, no, but wait, now I've got, such a huge following, or now I've got, the response that, I've been meaning to have, all because you decided to focus on what drives you, to focus on positivity and surrounding yourself and using your social media as well to connect with like-minded people who will push you in a positive way.
You're so right. You're so right. And I did that long time ago. Like there was a day I actually sat down and I went through my social media and I'm like, okay, today is cleanup day. We're cleaning out the social media. And you're so right, because if the people you follow don't inspire you in any way, or maybe all the things you see on social media are just things that drain you, or like fake things, or negative things, you want to reevaluate your friends list and actually look at the people that you follow. And if there's nothing that sparks that positivity, like what Tshepiso is saying, then it's time to reevaluate your presence. Because social media is like having another thing that I don't understand that people do, Tshepiso, is, so for example now, it's like me opening my house to my friends to come in, right? Obviously, I'm not going to welcome negative people or, people that tell lies or things like that into my house. So treat your social media the same way, right? If you know you're not going to entertain those people in your home, then they shouldn't be on your friends list,
Exactly.
There's no point. Right.
Yeah.
That's really
so
good.
we all need to start using our social media in a positive way. We need to start using social media in a way that will reflect where you want to go or where you want to be. So for instance, with myself, because I'm a motivational speaker, obviously my social media should actually reflect that I am a motivational speaker.
Yes.
You need to use your social media in a positive manner, in a way that's more positive, and it basically represents who you really are. So all the negative energy, a couple of weeks back, I actually went through my old posts and so forth. I'm like, wait, is this what I used to post? Because the person that I am now is quite different from the one who used to write those silly posts back then, So you actually get to see growth, and you're like, oh wow, like I am a totally different person than who I used to be back then.
And that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing, that you can sit back and look at it and say, wow, I can't believe I did this, which means that's growth. Yeah, you've grown, you've evolved. That's good. That's actually good that you can look back, because some people don't even see anything wrong with, they don't see a difference, from then and now. So those posts are there to remind us about the journey and how far we've come.
True.
Yeah. That's really good. Oh, thank you so much, Tshepiso. So I wanted to ask, you've shared a lot with us today. If people want to find you, to connect with you more, where can they find you?
Okay, they can find me on Instagram. I am Matlala_Tshepiso. So that's M for mother, ATLALA underscore Tshepiso, which is TSHEPISO. So that's me on Instagram. On Facebook, my business is also there. It's TM, M for mother. Okay.
All right. So Tshepiso is IG. On Instagram, it's Matlala_Tshepiso, right?
Yes.
Okay.
On Facebook, you can find my company there as TM Consultancy and Investments. And I also have a website that you can check out. It's www.tmci.co.za. So remember, it's TM Consultancy and Investments, tmci.co.za.
So it's tmci.co.za.
Yes, that's correct.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Tshepiso, for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge with us. I really appreciate these 5 steps you gave, and I hope people are able to use this to actually help them on the journey of finding their purpose. And when you eventually find your purpose, how to actually be patient, wait for that purpose to manifest into something great, because it will. It's just we just need to wait for it.
It will.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Tshepiso.
Thank you so much, Victoria, for inviting me onto your show. I really hope that your listeners learned something from me today. Remember, what I also say as well is that my mandate is to inspire, to motivate and to impact as many lives as I can.
Mm.
So listeners, you're welcome to follow me. You're welcome to check out my website. And Victoria, thank you so much for being a woman who is doing such phenomenal work. For you to be able to call out female entrepreneurs and giving them a platform, to actually help others out there who are maybe in similar situations, or maybe others who want to go into entrepreneurship, or maybe people who just need advice on certain elements in life. I think you are doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much. It is an utmost pleasure.
So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at Icandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at Icandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Wallaby. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org. And if you find this content valuable, please rate and review on iTunes. Leave a review. It matters to us so that people can find it. So rate, and review on iTunes, on Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to your podcast. Thank you.